Good evening, Husky fans. We are here in Sioux Falls as the Huskies take on the Sioux Falls Christian Chargers. We will be gearing up for some starting lineups here. Kendall was unfortunately unable to make it this evening, so you'll have to bear with me as I work camera, computer, and commentary. We'll hear a few words from our sponsors as the teams continue to warm up and the band plays. We are watching EPJ basketball, brought to you this evening by Fuller Digital Solutions.
All the best sports shows, all the best games on 101.5 FM and 1570 AM for your college sports, University of South Dakota. For NHL coverage, Minnesota Wild. For NBA coverage, Minnesota Timberwolves. For MLB coverage, Chicago Cubs. And the best games in both college and the pros with the ESPN Radio featured games. Never miss out on the action.
Quality care close to home. That's Horizon Healthcare in Elk Point. For immunizations and well-child visits to family health, we're right here for all ages with convenient hours and timely appointments. Local care for you and your family makes life easier with less travel, greater personal attention, and overall wellness for life. That's Horizon Healthcare's Elk Point Community Health Center.
Elk Point native Dr. Devin Penfield and the team at the dentist at Elk Point believe that your family deserves the highest level of dental care in a friendly and relaxing atmosphere. That's why they're happy to provide the community with a low-stress, comfortable dental home. Patients are loving and having the latest technology in a small-town setting. Dr. Penfield and her team enjoy serving such a wonderful community. Schedule your appointment today by calling 605-356-2271.
You ready to start a career with an exciting team? Thermobond is looking to add to our team of experts. We offer competitive wages, a positive work environment, and on-the-job training. Thermobond is headquartered in Elk Point, South Dakota, and for over 30 years we've been providing lightweight and precast solutions for multiple industries nationwide. Check us out and see if you'd like to start a new career with us today.
Get your wellness on track with the Elk Point Athletic Club. With affordable rates and convenient 24/7 access, the Elk Point Athletic Club makes it easier than ever to ditch those stubborn extra pounds and get back on the path to better health. With free weights, machines, ellipticals, treadmills, stationary bikes, and more, you'll find what you're looking for at the Elk Point Athletic Club. Text or email Eric today. Every day, life throws its challenges our way. It might be sitting at a desk too long, or picking up the kids, or simply everyday wear and tear. Over time, these moments can misalign our bodies. The doctors at Heartland Chiropractic Associates understand this delicate balance. Their team of experienced chiropractors doesn't just address symptoms, but seeks and finds the root cause. Call and book an appointment today and discover why Heartland Chiropractic Associates has been voted 2 times the best chiropractic clinic in Siouxland. Insurance.
emergency.
Forget the ramps and hassles when hauling. They are built to tilt. Tilt bed trailers made at Holstein Fabrication and Holstein Manufacturing.
We're excited to now offer one of the best tilt bed trailers on the market, ranging from 22 to 28 feet in length. And like everything we manufacture, these trailers are built to work, last, and make your life easier. Haul with confidence when you hook up to a tilt bed trailer made at Holstein Fabrication and Holstein Manufacturing. Visit us online today at holsteinmfg.com.
Back here in Sioux Falls as the Huskies take on the Chargers. There is another basketball game again tomorrow afternoon at the Tyson Event Center in Sioux City. Unfortunately, we are unable to film that event tomorrow, so if you'd like to see the Huskies play live and in person, head on down to the Tyson Event Center tomorrow. Gearing up for school songs and playing of the anthem, as well as our starting lineups.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Sioux Falls Christian High School and tonight's basketball game between the Point-Jefferson Huskies and the Sioux Falls Christian Chargers. At this time, I ask that everyone please stand and put your cap for the Bennett Center offers a word of prayer before tonight's game. Let's pray. Dear Lord, we're standing for EPJ safely, including traveling with us on the way back. And now that everyone stand, we ask that you please face the flag as we honor America with our national anthem, being played tonight by the Sioux Falls Christian Pep Band under the direction of Mr. Michael Bruno. A reminder to all in attendance of the proper respect is to stand at attention with your right hand over your heart. All veterans and out-of-uniform military personnel may salute the flag. Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem.
Starting lineups this evening. Caitlin Van Rokel, Ashley Brewer, Sarah Schmitz, Bentley Kohlbaum, Courtney Brewer. Huskies are coached by Jeff Newhart, assisted by Matt Hammett, Sam Huska. And for your Chargers, starting lineup. These are the cheerleaders. My apologies, folks. I wasn't seeing any of those names on my list. So your starting lineup for the Chargers. Number 1, Aubrey Van Beek, a sophomore at 5'7". Number 4, a 5'8" junior, Katie Vanderleest, a junior this year. Jackson Swift, a 5'9" senior. And number 11, Avery Reitz, a junior, standing 5'9". Maya Nelson, number 20, a junior, standing 5'6". Coaches are Dan DeYoung, Zach Perry, Ryan Fetters, and Dana Snyder. Let's see what we can do with this camera angle here, folks, and as we get started for the tip-off. And the tip-off goes to the Huskies. Sarah Schmitz down the court, passing over to Caitlin Van Rokel. Van Rokel to Brewer. Brewer with the bounce pass back to over to Brewer, back to Kohlbaum. Kohlbaum to Brewer. Under the basket for 2, and that's good. 2 points for Ashley Brewer. My Nelson brings it down the court as Swift tosses it over back to Nelson. Then Beek with the ball outside to Reitz. Reitz under the basket, tosses it up to the key. Swift for 3, and that bounces off the rim. Van Rokel brings it up over to Brewer. Brewer with long pass over to Schmitz. Schmitz bounces it over to Van Rokel. Van Rokel back to Brewer. Brewer to Kohlbaum. Kohlbaum to Schmitz for 3. And that's going to be a swish. Nelson brings it up. Tosses it over to Vanderleest. Number 1 under the basket there. Back to Nelson for 2. Brewer with the ball. Gets tripped up. Foul on Chargers. Van Beek, team's first foul. Her first foul. Brewer to inbound for the Huskies. Brewer to Van Rokel. Chargers applying full court coverage. Brewer to Schmitz, back to Brewer for 3. That's going to go a little long. Chargers to inbound. Swift to Nelson. Nelson brings it up the court. Nelson looking for a pass under the basket there to Vanderleest. Tosses it over to Reitz for 3. For 2. It was a long 2. My apologies. Swift to inbound for the Chargers. Swift to Nelson. Nelson to Vanderleest. Vanderleest brings it up, tries to drive it in. Nelson under the basket, back out to Swift. Swift to Vanderleest, gets it trapped up there by Schmitz. Back out to Swift at the top of the key. And Ashley Brewer with the interception. Sarah Schmitz drives it up the court, attempts for 2, rolls off the rim. Kohlbaum with the rebound. The struggle back out to Brewer. Brewer to Brewer, back to Brewer. Brewer for 3. It's going to bounce off the outside rim. Swift with the rebound. It's going to be a whistle. And Swift to inbound for the Chargers. Currently sitting 5-4. Huskies in the lead with 5 minutes, 21 seconds left in the first quarter. Huskies coming out looking strong right away. Swift inbounds over to Nelson. Brings it up the court. Nelson to Vanderleest, over to Reitz. Reitz under the basket for 2, pops it up. It's going to bounce out. Brewer attempted on the rebound. That's going to go out of bounds. Huskies to inbound. Hannah Neerman to inbound for the Huskies. Neerman to Schmitz. Schmitz with the long pass to Brewer. Intercepted there by Swift. Swift to Nelson. Nelson looking for a pass. And Swift for 3 attempt. That's not going to get it there. Vanderleest with the rebound. Out to Nelson. Nelson to Reitz under the net there. That's Swift with the attempt for the layup and denied by Huskies. So a foul on the Huskies. Swift to inbound. Swift looking for a pass. Number 12, Sydney Scott. Scott to Nelson, over to Swift. Swift with the attempt to pass and intercepted there by Ashley Brewer. Brewer to Schmitz. Schmitz with the bounce pass to Brewer. Brewer to Van Rokel. Van Rokel to Neerman. Neerman to Schmitz. Schmitz over to Kohlbaum. And that's going to go out of bounds on Huskies. Swift to inbound for the Chargers. Huskies lead by 1, 5-4. In the first quarter of this varsity girls basketball. Nelson to Vanderleest. No, that's number 1. Van Beek. Scott over to Nelson under the basket, guarded by Brewer and Neerman. It's a loose ball there, recovered by Neerman, bounced up and taken back by Nelson. Nelson under the basket, blocked there by Kohlbaum. Number 21, Maya Van Dong with the attempted basket. Schmitz with the ball now, over to Neerman. Neerman looking for a pass, over Kohlbaum. Intercepted there by Nelson, and a foul called on Nelson. Chargers with 2 fouls, Huskies with 1. That foul is going to go to Maya Nelson. Brewer to inbound, over to Van Rokel for 2. Vanderleest brings the ball up the court, tosses it over to Stanford. Chargers with the attempt, no good. Brewer with the rebound, over to Van Rokel. Nope, that's Van Rokel. Van Rokel to Neerman, Neerman to Brewer, Brewer to Van Rokel, back to Brewer for 3. That's going to be just short. Rebounded there by Aubrey Van Beek. Van Beek with the ball, struggle at the under the key. It's going to be Chargers ball under their net. Vanderleest to inbound for the Chargers. Vanderleest to Reitz for the attempted 2. Would be foul called on the Huskies. Chargers ball. Vanderleest to inbound for the Chargers. Vanderleest to Stanford. Vanderleest for 3. It's going to be short. Rebounded by Brewer. Brewer to Brewer. Courtney brings the ball up the court. Over to Van Rokel. Kohlbaum under the basket. It's going to hit the glass. Got some Chargers checking out, checking in. Kohlbaum and Neerman checking out for the Huskies. Courtney Brewer to inbound for EPJ. Under their net. Brewer to Schmitz. Schmitz with the 2 attempt. That's going to be rebounded there by Scott. Scott to Swift. Swift to Stanford. Stanford back to Swift with the long 3, and that's going to be 3 points. Tied up now, 7-all. Courtney Brewer with the ball. Long pass over to Grace Peed. He's under the basket for 2. Fakes it out, and that's going to be 2 for Huskies to take the lead. Vanderleest with the ball over to Reitz. Reitz to Swift. Swift to Vanderleest. Back to Reitz. Under the basket for 2. Tie things back up again. Schmitz to Brewer. Chargers applying pressure. Number 12 there. Scott with the attempt. It's going to be jump ball foul. Courtney Brewer to inbound for the Huskies. Chargers applying full court coverage. Nelson checking in along with Emery Lems. Brewer to Schmitz, back to Brewer. Long pass to Peed. Peed to Van Rokel under the net. Attempts for 2. That's going to be blocked by Swift. And foul called on the Chargers. Brewer to Schmitz, throws long, bounces it back. Peed grabs it from Schmitz. Bounce pass back to Schmitz. Schmitz to Brewer, Brewer back to Schmitz. Schmitz to Ben Rokel. Ben Rokel to Brewer, Brewer to Brewer, Brewer to Schmitz. Sarah with the ball, looking for a pass. It's going to be intercepted there by Reitz. Reitz to Lems for 2. Chargers take the lead. 11-9 here in the 54 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Schmitz with the ball. Guarded there by Swift. Oh, rebounded, and Schmitz with the attempted 2. Bounces off the rim. Brewer grabs the ball, and that's going to go knocked out of bounds. Chargers ball. 45 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Grace Peed checking out. Nelson bringing the ball up alongside Swift. Sickmiller with the long 2. Van Rokel with the ball. Knocked out of her hands there. And up again for 2 by Sickmiller. 15-9. Chargers getting into a groove. Huskies battling to power back. Van Rokel with the ball. Over to Kohlbaum. Kohlbaum drives up for 2, and that's going to be a foul called. Kohlbaum goes to the line for 2. Chargers with 4 team fouls. Huskies with 2 team fouls. First shot is up and no good by Kohlbaum. Second shot is up and good. Swift with the ball over to Vanderleest. Vanderleest to Nelson. Nelson drives in, passes it off to Sickmiller for 3. And that's going to bounce off the rim there. Grabbed back by Lems as the first quarter wraps up. We are going to head to a quick commercial break. Hear a word from our sponsors, and we will be back after these messages. You're watching Elk Point-Jefferson Huskies basketball, brought to you by Fuller Digital Solutions.
All the best sports shows, all the best games on 101.5 FM and 1570 AM for your college sports, University of South Dakota. For NHL coverage, Minnesota Wild. For NBA coverage, Minnesota Timberwolves. For MLB coverage, Chicago Cubs. And the best games in both college and the pros with the ESPN Radio featured games. Never miss out on the action.
Quality care close to home. That's Horizon Healthcare in Elk Point. For immunizations and well-child visits to family health, we're right here for all ages with convenient hours and timely appointments. Local care for you and your family makes life easier with less travel, greater personal attention, and overall wellness for life. That's Horizon Healthcare's Elk Point Community Health Center.
And we are back. Courtney Brewer inbounds for Sister Ashley. Over back to Sarah Schmitz. My apologies. Schmitz to Brewer. Brewer to Van Rokel. Van Rokel to Kohlbaum. Kohlbaum to Schmitz. Over to Courtney. Ashley to Van Rokel. Caitlin tosses it up to Ashley under the basket. 2 attempt. Rebounded by Swift. Swift to Sickmiller. Sickmiller to Nelson. Nelson to Lems. Lems to Swift. And Vanderleest with the 3 attempts, going to be no good. And a scramble for the ball on the court. Brewer tosses it over to Vanderleest for 2. Good hustle trying to keep that ball alive. Schmitz to Brewer, knocked out of her hands by Sickmiller. And Lems with the layup for 2. That's going to be a timeout called there by Coach Newhart. We'll take one right along with him. We'll be back after these messages.
Elk Point native Dr. Devin Penfield and the team at the dentist at Elk Point believe that your family deserves the highest level of dental care in a friendly and relaxing atmosphere. That's why they're happy to provide the community with a low-stress, comfortable dental home. Patients are loving and having the latest technology in a small-town setting. Dr. Penfield and her team enjoy serving such a wonderful community. Schedule your appointment today by calling 605-356-2271.
And we are back as the Huskies and the Chargers each wrap up their timeouts. Currently sitting 19-10 in favor of the Chargers in the second quarter of this high school varsity girls basketball game here in Sioux Falls. Chargers take the court and Huskies wrap up their timeout. Courtney Brewer to inbound for the Huskies. Brewer to Kohlbaum. Kohlbaum back to Brewer. Brewer brings it up the court. Tried to knock loose by Vanderleest. Getting trapped up there. Quite the scramble on the court. It's going to go in favor of the Chargers. Swift to inbound for Sioux Falls Christian. Over to Nelson. Nelson brings it up over to Sickmiller. Sickmiller back to Nelson. Schmitz applying pressure. Vanderleest to Lems. Up for 2. Brewer to Schmitz to Kohlbaum. Kohlbaum with the long pass to Van Rokel. Van Rokel slows things down as lets everybody get set up. Schmitz. Brewer, apology. (21-10) as we start up the second quarter. Swift checks out. Brewer to inbound. Over to Kohlbaum. Kohlbaum to Brewer. Brewer to Schmitz. Reitz brings it up for 2, and that's going to be knocked loose. Rebounded by Van Rokel. Van Rokel drives it in. Bounce pass over to Brewer. Brewer to Schmitz. Schmitz with the pass to Kohlbaum. Kohlbaum for 3, a little long there, and recovered by Lems. Lems to Vanderleest. Vanderleest brings it up. Bounce pass over to Sickmiller. Vanderleest to Reitz. Back to Vanderleest. Nelson for the 3 attempts. Be no good. Recovered by Van Rokel. Van Rokel to Schmitz. Schmitz looking for an opening. Over to Van Rokel. Van Rokel to Brewer. Brewer to Brewer underneath the net. Out to Kolbaum. Over to Van Rokel. Shot clock reads at 9. Van Rokel drives in for 2. It's going to be no good. Ball goes to Vanderleest. Over to Nelson to Sickmiller for 3. Vanderleest with the 3 attempt as well. No good. Schmitz to Brewer. Brewer brings it up the court. Schmitz brings it up the court. Schmitz to Van Rokel to Brewer. Over to Schmitz. Neerman checking in for Brewer. Scott checking in for the Chargers. As Vanderleest checks out. I know one other one checked out and checked in, but I didn't catch who that was. Schmitz over to Van Rokel. Foul called on the Chargers. The Huskies ball. Neerman to inbound for the Huskies. It's going to go out of bounds. Chargers ball. Reitz inbounds to Nelson. Nelson brings it up over to Stanford. Stanford to Lems. Over to Nelson. Nelson to Reitz. Over to Stanford. Back to Reitz. Reitz tries to drive in. Blocked by the Huskies. Stanford out to Lems. Lems up for 2. Knocked loose. And that's going to be loose ball. And Lems for 2. 23-10 here in the second quarter. Schmitz drives it out to Kolbaum. Kolbaum to Brewer. Brewer back to Schmitz. Schmitz for 2. That's going to be good. Nelson drives it up the court. Lems thinking about the 3. Second guesses and up for 2. Neerman inbounds to Schmitz. Schmitz with the long pass to Van Rokel. Van Rokel drives in. Bounce pass to Brewer. Foul called on Chargers. It's going to go to Ashley Brewer. Is going to go to the line for 2. That foul is called on Lems. First shot is up and good. Nelson checks out. Vanderleest checks in. Kolbaum checks out. Pede checks in. Second shot is up and rolls out. It's going to be rebounded there by Lems. Lems to Vanderleest. Vanderleest over to Sprick. Sprick to Lems. Lems up for 2. Neerman inbounds to Schmitz. Schmitz to Van Rokel. Drives it up the court. Guarded there by Vanderleest. Bounce pass to Schmitz. Over to Pede. Pede looking for 2. Gonna push it in. Pass to Van Rokel. Gets caught up by the Chargers. And that's gonna be a foul called on Van Rokel. Timeout called by Coach Newhart. We'll take one right along with him and be back after these messages.
You ready to start a career with an exciting team? Thermobond is looking to add to our team of experts. We offer competitive wages, a positive work environment, and on-the-job training. Thermobond is headquartered in Elk Point, South Dakota, and for over 30 years we've been providing lightweight and precast solutions for multiple industries nationwide. Check us out and see if you'd like to start a new career with us today.
And we are back. Huskies trail 27-13 here in the second quarter. 2 minutes 43 seconds remaining as the Chargers and the Huskies wrap up their timeout. Second coach are sitting currently with 4. No, that's not right. Looking like Chargers have 4 team fouls. Huskies with 1 team foul. 2 team fouls. Nelson with the ball. Huskies applying pressure. Over to Van Beek. Nelson with the ball now. Nelson to Vanderleest. Back to Nelson. Nelson looking for a pass. Over to Van Beek and Scott with the shot for 2. It's going to be good. Peed with the ball now. Over to Schmitz. Schmitz drives in, and that's going to get called. Foul on the Chargers as Sarah Schmitz goes to the line for 2. Sarah's first shot is up and rolls out. Van Rokel checking out. Brewer checking out. And Van Beek checking out. Schmitz with her second foul shot. It's up and good. 29-14 in favor of the Chargers. Vanderleest with the ball, over to Swift, back to Vanderleest, back to Swift, Swift to Reitz, to Swift to Lems, back to Swift, Vanderleest with the ball, back over to Reitz, Swift to Lems under the basket, and snatched away there by Schmitz. She drives in for 2. To bounce off the rim there, recovered by the Chargers. Reitz sends it up the court, and that's going to be knocked out of bounds in her attempt to pass to Lems. It's going to be knocked out by the Huskies. Chargers ball under their net. Swift goes to inbound for the Chargers. Swift to Lems. Kohlbaum applying pressure. Vanderleest over to Scott back on the court. Foul called on Kohlbaum. Swift to inbound. Kohlbaum checking out. Swift inbound to Lems. Attempt for 2. It's going to be rebounded there by Schmitz as she drives it up the court. Passes, and that's going to be intercepted by Scott. Swift for 3, and that's going to bounce off the rim. Peed with the recovery over to Schmitz. Schmitz tosses it to Van Rokel. Van Rokel to Brewer, Brewer to Schmitz. Schmitz to Peed. Peed looking for an opportunity. Brewer to Van Rokel. Van Rokel drives it in for the layup for 2. Swift inbounds for the Chargers over to Vanderleest. Vanderleest to Swift. Over to Lems. Lems tries to drive in for 2. No call. And that's going to be the end of the first half. We will be back after a few messages. I don't have anybody taking stats for me, so if anybody wants to call into the show with some stats I can read off, that would be fantastic. Otherwise, it's commercial breaks for the halftime. We'll be back after a little bit.
Get your wellness on track with the Elk Point Athletic Club. With affordable rates and convenient 24/7 access, the Elk Point Athletic Club makes it easier than ever to ditch those stubborn extra pounds and get back on the path to better health. With free weights, machines, ellipticals, treadmills, stationary bikes, and more, you'll find what you're looking for at the Elk Point Athletic Club. Text or email Eric today. Every day, life throws its challenges our way. It might be sitting at a desk too long, or picking up the kids, or simply everyday wear and tear. Over time, these moments can misalign our bodies. The doctors at Heartland Chiropractic Associates understand this delicate balance. Their team of experienced chiropractors doesn't just address symptoms, but seeks and finds the root cause. Call and book an appointment today and discover why Heartland Chiropractic Associates has been voted 2 times the best chiropractic clinic in Siouxland. Insurance. Visit us at jensenagencyonline.com. Jensen Insurance, your local independent auto owners insurance agency.
Welcome back, Husky fans. We are here in Sioux Falls as EPJ Huskies take on the Sioux Falls Christian Chargers. Chargers lead 29-16 here at the half. Players are getting limbered up and ready to hit the court. We got about 20 seconds left on the clock as teams do their breakdowns, gear up for a second half of high school basketball action. If you're looking for something to do tomorrow, head out to the Tyson Events Center to watch the Huskies play tomorrow. Not quite sure yet who they are up against. I'll get that information for you and throw that information out there. We are back to the action as Nelson has the ball. Vanderleest with the long three attempt, no good. Schmitz brings the ball up the court over to Van Rokel. Van Rokel out to Schmitz. Schmitz to Brewer. Brewer to Van Rokel. Schmitz with the ball now. Schmitz to Brewer. Brewer to Van Rokel. As Van Rokel looks for an opening. Bounce pass to Brewer. Courtney looking for a pass as 4 seconds left on the shot clock. Schmitz with the long three. It's going to be no good. And Swift with the ball. Swift to Nelson. Nelson to Vanderleest. Back to Nelson. Oh, that's Sickmiller out there. It's a long distance to that other side of the court. Sickmiller to Reitz. Reitz across the court. Swift with the ball to Reitz. Knocked loose by Kohlbaum. Recovered by Van Rokel. Van Rokel drives it up under the Husky net. Over to Brewer. Brewer to Kohlbaum. Kohlbaum out to Van Rokel. Van Rokel to Brewer. Brewer to Kohlbaum as Sickmiller applies pressure. Kohlbaum attempts for the drive in. Over to Brewer. Back to Kohlbaum. Back to Brewer. Out to Brewer. Huskies looking for a shot. Brewer to Kohlbaum. Kohlbaum with the attempt, and that's going to be snatched up by Vanderleest. Vanderleest with the long pass to Nelson. Nelson bounces out to Swift. Swift to Vanderleest. Vanderleest to Sickmiller. Back to Vanderleest. Over to Van Dong. Nope, that's Nelson. Nelson to Reitz. Over to Vanderleest. The attempt for three, it's going to be no good. Huskies to inbound. It's Courtney Brewer. Makes a pass to Schmitz. Back to Brewer. Chargers applying full court pressure. Schmitz to Van Rokel. She goes up for the layup. It's going to be a foul called on the Chargers. Courtney Brewer to inbound for the Huskies. Brewer to Brewer. Brewer over to Kohlbaum. Kohlbaum looks up for two. Nelson with the ball, knocked loose by Van Rokel. Van Rokel, or Brewer, recovers. Passes to Kohlbaum. Goes up for two. Chargers inbound. Swift and Vanderleest bringing it up the court. Over to Nelson. Nelson to Sickmiller for a long two. It's going to be no good. Bounces off the rim. Recovered by Vanderleest. Vanderleest to Swift. Back to Vanderleest for a long three, and that's going to be no good. Brewer with the rebound. Brewer to Brewer. Schmitz to Brewer. Brewer for three. It's going to bounce off the rim and snatched up by Sickmiller. Sickmiller drives it up the court. We'll take a timeout along with the Chargers. We'll be back after these messages. And we're back. Chargers lead 29-20 here in the third quarter as the Huskies take on the Sioux Falls Chargers here in Sioux Falls on this unseasonably warm Friday evening. Chargers to inbound. Swift over to Nelson. Nelson brings the ball up. Looking for a pass. Back to Swift. Cross to Sickmiller. Blocked by Kohlbaum. And foul called on the Huskies. This will be Kohlbaum's third foul. Sickmiller goes to the line. First shot is up. It's been no good. Scott and Van Dong checking in for the Chargers. Sickmiller's second shot is up and good. 20-30. Kohlbaum to Brewer. Back to Schmitz. Schmitz to Brewer. Brewer to Kohlbaum under the net. Up for two. Nelson and Swift bring the ball up as Scott drives in for the two attempt, which is going to be fouled by Courtney Brewer. Fouled by Ashley Brewer. Swift to inbound for the Chargers. Swift to Nelson. Nelson to Lems. Lems to Van Dong. Up by the Chargers, no good. Jump ball. It's going to go to the Huskies. Brewer to inbound for EPJ. Brewer to Schmitz. It's going to be knocked out by the Chargers. EPJ ball. Brewer to inbound. Brewer to Schmitz. Schmitz to Brewer. Over to Van Rokel. Brings it up under the Husky basket. Brewer to Van Rokel. Over to Kohlbaum for two, and it's going to spin out there. Recovered by Van Dong. Nelson brings it up the court. Lems to Swift. Over to Van Dong. It's going to get knocked loose there. Foul called on Courtney Brewer. Her first foul. Team's 7th. Swift was looking for a pass to Sickmiller. Over to Van Dong. Back to Swift. Over to Nelson. Nelson drives in. Bounces out to Swift for a long three. It's going to be no good. Nelson and Brewer fight for the ball. Brewer comes out on top. Over to Schmitz. Drives in. Lays up for two. It's going to be no good. Lems snatches the ball. Knocked loose and grabbed by the Huskies. It's going to be timeout called by Coach Newhart. We'll take one right along with him. Be back after these messages.
Forget the ramps and hassles when hauling. They are built to tilt. Tilt bed trailers made at Holstein Fabrication and Holstein Manufacturing.
We're excited to now offer one of the best tilt bed trailers on the market, ranging from 22 to 28 feet in length. And like everything we manufacture, these trailers are built to work, last, and make your life easier. Haul with confidence when you hook up to a tilt bed trailer made at Holstein Fabrication and Holstein Manufacturing. Visit us online today at holsteinmfg.com.
And we are back here in Sioux Falls. Chargers lead the Huskies 30-22. I think it's colder inside this building than it is outside at the moment. Feels like I'm filming football again. Brewer to inbound, over to Schmitz. Schmitz to Van Rokel. Van Rokel to Brewer, knocked loose by a Charger. It's going to be Huskies ball under their net. Brewer to inbound for the Huskies as Stanford checks in for the Chargers and Swift checks out. Brewer looking for a pass. Brewer with the bounce over to Van Rokel. Snatched up there by Vanderleest. Brings it up the court. Passes over to Lems. Lems out to Reitz. Reitz to Vanderleest. Vanderleest passes it to Reitz under the basket. Back out to Vanderleest. Stanford with the ball. Passes it to Lems. Lems rolls in. Sends it out to Vanderleest. Shoots for three, and it's going to be no good. Bounces off the rim and recovered. Rebounded there by Ashley Brewer. Tossed over to Sarah Schmitz. Tossed to Courtney Brewer. Long pass over to Van Rokel. Van Rokel with the attempt for three. Bounces in and out. Brewer with the ball. Long pass, and it's going to be Vanderleest with the attempt to intercept the ball, and that's going to be knocked out by the Chargers. So it's Huskies ball under their net. Brewer to inbound for the Huskies. Brewer with the long pass to Kohlbaum over to Van Rokel. Van Rokel to Schmitz. Schmitz to Kohlbaum. Kohlbaum to go up for two. That's going to be foul called on Lems, I believe. Yep. Foul called on Lems. Her second foul of the evening. Kohlbaum goes to the line to shoot for two. First one's up, no good. Kohlbaum's second shot is up, and it's good. 23-30 here. Chargers in possession of the ball. Vanderleest with the pass to Lems. Intercepted Lems's pass by Courtney Brewer. Brewer to Schmitz. Schmitz to Kohlbaum. Kohlbaum looking to make a play. Kohlbaum drives in, tosses it out to Brewer. Brewer to Brewer. Back to Kohlbaum under the net. Out to Brewer. Ashley Brewer with the ball. Over to Van Rokel. Van Rokel to Kohlbaum. Kohlbaum to Schmitz. Back to Kohlbaum. Brewer to inbound for the Huskies. Swift and Nelson checking in for the Chargers. Brewer to Schmitz. Schmitz goes up for two, and it's good. 25-30. Sitting now. Nelson to Swift. Swift to Nelson. Nelson back to Swift. Swift to Reitz. Reitz with the ball. Tosses it out to Nelson. Back to Swift. Swift goes up for a long three, and that's going to be good. Brewer to inbound for the Huskies. Over to Schmitz. Schmitz back to Brewer. Brewer to Swift. Swift to Reitz. Reitz drives in, trying to get up for two. It's going to be no good. Rebounded by Kohlbaum. Kohlbaum to Schmitz. Schmitz drives it up the court and tosses it out to Kohlbaum. Kohlbaum over to Brewer. Brewer to Van Rokel. Van Rokel drives under for the layup for two, and it's going to be just a little long. Reitz with the rebound over to Nelson. Drives it up the court. 30 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Nelson with the ball over to Reitz. Reitz back to Nelson for three. It's going to be no good. Brewer with the rebound. Brewer to Schmitz. Schmitz drives it up the court. Schmitz to Kohlbaum. Kohlbaum goes up for two, and it's going to be no good. Foul called. Kohlbaum going to the line for 2. First one's up and good. Kohlbaum's second shot is up and no good. That's going to bounce out. Sickmiller with the recovery. Swift to Vanderleest. Vanderleest to Nelson. Out to Swift for 3. It's going to be no good. 2 seconds remaining. It's going to be clock stoppage there. Out of bounds. Brewer. To inbound, over to Van Rokel. Van Rokel with the heave, and that's going to be no good. And that'll be the end of the third quarter. We'll be right back after a few messages from our sponsors. You're watching EPJ Husky Basketball, brought to you by Fuller Digital Solutions.
All the best sports shows, all the best games on 101.5 FM and 1570 AM for your college sports, University of South Dakota. For NHL coverage, Minnesota Wild. For NBA coverage, Minnesota Timberwolves. For MLB coverage, Chicago Cubs. And the best games in both college and the pros with the ESPN Radio featured games. Never miss out on the action.
And we are back. Chargers lead 33-26 as we gear up to start the fourth quarter. Nelson brings it up over to Swift. Swift back to Nelson. Nelson to Lems under the net. Lems outside to Swift. Over to Sickmiller. Sickmiller drives in for the layup. No good. Rebounded by Ashley Brewer. Tossed over to Sarah Schmitz. Schmitz brings the ball up the court. Over to Hannah Neerman. Neerman to Van Rokel. Van Rokel to Schmitz. Schmitz to Neerman. Neerman to Van Rokel. Van Rokel to Schmitz for 3. It's going to roll in and out. Sickmiller with the rebound over to Vanderleest. Vanderleest to the bounce pass to Sickmiller. Sickmiller drives in. Tosses it out to Vanderleest. Over to Nelson. Off to Swift. And then to Sickmiller for 2. Intercepted there by Neerman and Peed. Out to Van Rokel, over to Brewer to Schmitz. Schmitz to Neerman. Neerman drives in, bounces it out to Van Rokel, drives up for 2, and that's going to be good. Nelson and Vanderleest and Swift attempted to bring it up the court as Huskies apply pressure. Nelson drives up under the basket, Lems for 2. Going to be no good from what I'm understanding. Neerman to inbound for the Huskies over to Van Rokel. Van Rokel back to Neerman. Neerman with the long pass to Van Rokel, bounces it to Schmitz. Knocked loose there. Chargers to inbound. Swift to Nelson. Nelson to Swift. Huskies applying pressure. Lems under the basket, hooks for two, and it's going to be no good. Foul against the Huskies. It's going to be foul called on Pede. Lems up. First one is good. Second one is up and good as well. Neerman inbound for the Huskies. Neerman to Van Rokel. Van Rokel back to Neerman. Neerman been trapped up by some Chargers. He's going to call travel on the Huskies. Swift inbounds for the Chargers over to Nelson. Nelson to Sickmiller, back to Nelson. Nelson to Swift. Swift for three. It's going to be good. Then Colbaum with the ball. Brewer for two. Five and a half minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. Swift with the ball over to Sickmiller. Sickmiller back to Swift. Swift with the long pass to Scott. Nelson with the long three. Going to be no good. Bounces in and out. Schmitz to Van Rokel. Van Rokel over to Brewer. Schmitz looking for a pass. It's going to hit somebody's leg. Apparently you can't do that in basketball. I did not know that. Brewer inbounds for the Huskies. Brewer to Schmitz. Schmitz to Colbaum. Colbaum to Brewer. Brewer bounces out to Van Rokel. Van Rokel to Brewer. Back to over to sister. Ashley Brewer with the ball. Tosses it over to Courtney Brewer. Bounces into Colbaum. Colbaum with the attempt. And that's going to be fouled on Sickmiller. It's going to be Sickmiller's third foul. Colbaum to the line for two. First one's up and good. Second one up is good. Swift with the ball. Inbound to Vanderbeest. Back to Swift. Back to Vanderbeest. Vanderbeest. Vanderleest. Swift for three. Van Rokel with the ball. Van Rokel drives it up the court. Looking to make a play. Coach Newhart calls the timeout. We'll take one right along with him. We'll be back with some more basketball action after a quick word from our sponsors. You're watching EPJ Huskies live on location, brought to you by Fuller Digital Solutions.
Quality care close to home. That's Horizon Healthcare in Elk Point. For immunizations and well-child visits to family health, we're right here for all ages with convenient hours and timely appointments. Local care for you and your family makes life easier with less travel, greater personal attention, and overall wellness for life. That's Horizon Healthcare's Elk Point Community Health Center.
And we are back. 4 minutes, 13 seconds remaining in this fourth quarter of high school girls basketball action here in Sioux Falls. Van Rokel with the ball. Passes it out to Schmitz for three, and that's going to be good. Vanderleest with the ball over to Swift, back to Vanderleest. Vanderleest to Swift. Swift out to Reitz. Joins us back on the court to Lems. Lems goes up for two, and that's going to be no good. Blocked by Huskies. I believe a foul was called, and Lems goes to the line for two. .43-35 here in the fourth quarter. First shot is up and good. I guess they were just going for one. Nelson with the ball. Nelson over to Vanderleest. Back to Nelson. Over to Swift. Swift to Reitz. Reitz goes up for two. Denied by Ashley Brewer. Vanderleest for three. It's going to be long. It's going to go out of bounds. Ashley Brewer just lets it roll. Huskies take possession of the ball. Courtney Brewer to inbound for the Huskies. Brewer to Schmitz. Schmitz to Kohlbaum. Drives in. Goes up for two. And it's going to be blocked by the Chargers. The Chargers ball. Swift to inbound for Vanderleest. The Chargers ball on the side. Vanderleest with the ball. Vanderleest drives in, top of the key, tosses it out to Swift. Swift back to Reitz. Sickmiller checks in as Lems checks out. Swift to inbound, over to Vanderleest. Off to Reitz. Reitz to Nelson. Nelson to Sickmiller underneath the basket, and that's going to go and bounce on in for two. Schmitz with the ball, pass to Kohlbaum. Kohlbaum drives up, passes to Brewer. Brewer to Schmitz. Schmitz bounces it in to Kohlbaum. The shot for two, and that's going to bounce out. Swift to Reitz. Reitz goes up under the net, tosses it out to Vanderleest, over to Nelson. Nelson with the ball. Bounce passes out to Vanderleest. Vanderleest to Reitz. Reitz up under the basket. It's going to be no good. Long, and a struggle for the ball. And finally a jump ball is called. Timeout is called on the court, and we will take one right along with them. Be back after these messages.
Elk Point native Dr. Devin Penfield and the team at the dentist at Elk Point believe that your family deserves the highest level of dental care in a friendly and relaxing atmosphere. That's why they're happy to provide the community with a low-stress, comfortable dental home. Patients are loving and having the latest technology in a small-town setting. Dr. Penfield and her team enjoy serving such a wonderful community. Schedule your appointment today by calling 605-356-2271.
And we are back. This is Huskies' final timeout. No timeouts remaining. Sioux Falls Christian with 4 timeouts left. Sioux Falls Christian leads 46-35 here with 2 minutes 18 seconds remaining in the second half. Huskies to inbound. Brewer over to Brewer. The long pass back to Brewer. Courtney drives it up and tosses it over to Kohlbaum, intercepted by the Chargers. And then as Nelson attempts to pass it, it's knocked out of bounds by Kohlbaum. Swift to inbound for Sioux Falls Christian. Over to Vanderleest, back to Swift. Huskies applying full court coverage. Nelson with the ball. Tangled up with Brewer. Nelson to the line for two. First shot is up and good. Second shot is up and good. It's going to be 48-35 in favor of the Chargers. Schmitz with the ball. Over to Brewer. Brewer back to Schmitz. Schmitz to Brewer. Brewer to Kohlbaum. Kohlbaum for two and a push. Kohlbaum goes to the line for two. Kohlbaum's first one is up and good. Nelson over to Swift. Swift back to Nelson. Back to Swift, over to Vanderleest. Vanderleest to Reitz. Reitz out to Swift, back to Reitz. Vanderleest with the ball. Reitz to Swift, to Vanderleest, over to Reitz for two. It's going to be no good. Rebounds her own shot. Second attempt, no good. Snagged by Brewer. Brewer over to Schmitz as she brings it up the court. Schmitz to Van Rokel. Minute 14 left here in the game. Brewer for three. Foul called on the Huskies, and Swift will go to the line for two. Their shot is up and good. Second shot up and no good. Rebounded by Kohlbaum. Kohlbaum to Schmitz. Schmitz drives it up. Long pass over to Van Rokel for two, and that's going to be in and out. Rebounds her own shot. Van Rokel out to Brewer. Brewer to Van Rokel. Van Rokel looking for a pass. It's going to be snagged up there by Swift. Over to Vanderleest. Vanderleest to Swift. Swift back to Vanderleest. 39 seconds remaining. Nelson over to Vanderleest, back to Nelson, over to Reitz. Reitz to Nelson. Foul called on Brewer. Nelson goes to the line to shoot two. First one is up and good. Second shot up and good. Huskies ball. Schmitz drives it up the court. Schmitz, the inside bounce pass to Brewer. Try to hook up for two. It's going to be no good. Swift with the ball. Long pass over to Reitz. Reitz to Nelson. Nelson running out the clock. And that's going to do it for the girls' basketball game here. Sioux Falls Christian takes the win, 51-41 here in Sioux Falls. Your points leaders for, well, actually, I don't know about the points leaders for the game. I know Bentley Kohlbaum had 14. Sarah Schmitz with 11. Ashley Brewer with 5. Caitlin Van Rokel with 6. And they took away the stats. So that's what I got for you, folks. We'll take a few messages here as the boys gear up to warm up and play their face-off. We'll be back after these messages.
You ready to start a career with an exciting team? Thermobond is looking to add to our team of experts. We offer competitive wages, a positive work environment, and on-the-job training. Thermobond is headquartered in Elk Point, South Dakota, and for over 30 years we've been providing lightweight and precast solutions for multiple industries nationwide. Check us out and see if you'd like to start a new career with us today.
And we are back here in Sioux Falls as the boys gear up to take on I got nothing. I can't fill airtime like Mr. Newhart can. And it's hard to sit here and have a conversation with yourself. Kendall, you can't leave me here hanging like this.
Ladies and gentlemen, give a big hand to the Bat Band from Sioux Falls Christian under the direction of Mr. Michael Griffin. And welcome back to the second of tonight's doubleheader between EPJ Huskies and Sioux Falls Christian Chargers. Let's see the lineups. First,
Starting lineups for EPJ, your starters will be
at one guard, number 3, a 6-foot senior Garrett Merkley. At the other guard, number 10, a 5'10"
Garrett Merkley, number 3.
At one forward, number 22,
Carson Timmons at number 10. For 22, Caden Moore. And Reed Saylor at number 30. And Evan Fordia, 33. Coached by Jake Otkin and assisted by Zach Ronning.
Olivia Haugen, Claudia Tice, Grace Tinkle, Lily Jensen, Emily Ortega, Chelsea Roberts, Jason Tucker, and Anna Simone.
And now your starters for your Sioux Falls Chargers. Number 3, Cole Snyder, a junior at guard, standing 6'0". Number 4, Jade Van Donsgood. Number 22, Griffin Goodberry. Number 24, Carson Nichols. And number 35, Brent Wassener. Sioux Falls Christian Chargers are coached by Mike Scouten, assisted by Justin Shepard and Brian Wassener. Now I gotta learn a whole new set of names within 10 seconds. Here we go. Evan Fordia faces off against 22, Griffin Goodberry. Chargers win the tip-off, and Goodberry goes up for 3. It'll be no good. Rebounded by Reed Saylor. Timmons with the ball. Over to Merkley. Merkley to Saylor. Saylor to Schmitz. No, that's not Timmons. Saylor with the ball. Up for 3. This will be no good. 40 on the rebound. Caden Moore with the ball. Looking for a pass. It's going to be knocked out of bounds by the Chargers. Huskies to inbound. Reed Saylor with possession of the ball. Tosses it into Moore. Moore to Merkley. Merkley drives in, passes it out to Fournier. Fournier to Saylor. Ball's knocked loose, and it's going to be picked up there by Van Donsgood. Over to Wassener. Wassener to Goodberry. Goodberry up for 2. Caden Moore takes the ball down the court. Moore out to Merkley. No, Timmons. Timmons out to Merkley. Merkley to Timmons. Over to Saylor. Saylor to Moore. Ball goes to the Chargers. Snyder inbounds over to Van Donkersgood. Van Donkersgood to Goodberry. It's foul on Caden Moore as Nichols inbounds. Nichols to Snyder. Snyder over to Wassenaar. Wassenaar bounces it out. It's going to go possession to Huskies. Timmons inbounds over to Merkley. Merkley brings it up the court. Over to Caden Moore. Moore to Saylor. Saylor out to Timmons. Timmons to Merkley. Merkley to Saylor. Saylor back to Merkley. Out to Timmons for 3. It's going to bounce off the rim. No good. Rebounded there by Goodberry. Goodberry knocks Caden Moore sliding across the court. It's going to go in possession of the Huskies. Saylor to inbound over to Merkley. Merkley to Moore. Moore to Saylor. Saylor to Timmons. Timmons to Moore. Moore to Fournier. Fournier up under the net. It's going to go up for 2. It's going to be no good. And Van Donkersgood with the rebound. It's going to be knocked loose, and it's going to go in Chargers possession. Van Donkersgood to inbound over to Snyder. Van Donkersgood with the ball out to Wassenaar. Wassenaar with the attempt, and that's going to be foul called on the Huskies. Nichols to inbound for the Chargers. Nichols to Goodberry. Goodberry up for 2. Merkley tosses it over to Moore. It's going to be intercepted and knocked loose by Snyder. Huskies ball on the sidelines. Merkley to inbound. Caden Moore. Moore to Timmons. Timmons to Saylor. Saylor with the bounce pass to Timmons. It's going to be intercepted there by the Chargers. Wassenaar with the rebound, up for 2. Timmons inbounds to Merkley. Merkley to Timmons. Timmons to Moore. Moore looking for a pass. It's hit out there. That pass was intended for Merkley, knocked loose by Nichols, so it's Huskies possession. Moore with the ball over to Saylor. Saylor to Timmons. Timmons out to Moore, almost knocked loose there by Snyder. Moore with the attempt to be no good, and that's going to go to Goodberry now. Goodberry to Wassenaar. Wassenaar up with a layup for 2. Saylor to Moore. Moore to Timmons. Timmons to Saylor. Out to Merkley. And pass intended for Fournier. It's going to go to Van Donkersgood. Coach Otkin's going to take a timeout. We'll take one right along with him. We'll be back after this.
Every day, life throws its challenges our way. It might be sitting at a desk too long, or picking up the kids, or simply everyday wear and tear. Over time, these moments can misalign our bodies. The doctors at Heartland Chiropractic Associates understand this delicate balance. Their team of experienced chiropractors doesn't just address symptoms, but seeks and finds the root cause. Call and book an appointment today and discover why Heartland Chiropractic Associates has been voted 2 times the best chiropractic clinic in Siouxland.
And we're back. Chargers lead 10-0 here in the first quarter. 3 minutes 52 seconds remaining. Huskies with 2 team fouls and Sioux Falls Christian with 1. Merkley to inbound to Moore. Moore brings it up the court, passes it over to Timmons. Timmons to Fairbanks. Fairbanks to Moore. Luke Schmitz checking in for Evan Fournier. Snyder brings the ball up the court. Snyder to Wassenaar. Wassenaar back to Snyder for 3. It's going to be a long 3. It sinks in. Fairbanks inbounds to Moore. Moore to Saylor. Saylor to Schmitz for 2 under the net. Wassenaar over to Goodberry. Goodberry to Wassenaar. Goodberry for 3. Schmitz with the ball over to Moore. Knocked loose there on the drive. That's going to go in favor of the Chargers. Bennett Wassenaar to inbound over to Snyder. Was supposed to be Huskies ball. Ashton Fairbanks to inbound for EPJ. Over to Merkley. Merkley to Fairbanks. Ashton looking for a pass over to Caden Moore. Moore to Merkley. Merkley tosses it off to Fairbanks. It's going to be foul. Huskies ball. No. Huskies ball under their net. Garrett Merkley to inbound for the Huskies. Merkley to Fairbanks. Fairbanks to Moore. And knocked loose by Wassenaar. So Huskies ball. Merkley to inbound for EPJ. Merkley to Moore. Moore with the lob and intercepted there by Snyder. Snyder out to Van Donkersgood. Wassenaar with the ball over to Van Donkersgood for 3 attempts. It's going to be no good. And Wassenaar for 2. Fairbanks with the ball. Attempted pass to Moore. It's going to be foul called on the Chargers. Saylor checking in for Caden Moore. Merkley to inbound over to Saylor. Saylor to Schmitz. Schmitz to, Timmons, sorry. They all have the same haircut. currently sits 18-2 in favor of the Chargers. Fairbanks goes to the line for 2. First one is up and good. Second one up is no good. Saylor on the rebound, attempts to knock it back in, and that's going to bounce off of a Charger and go in favor of the Huskies. Reed Saylor to inbound. Saylor, that's going to be smacked loose by Wassenaar. Huskies ball. It's going to be pass attempt to Fairbanks, intercepted by Chargers, knocked loose again, out of bounds. Saylor to inbound. Saylor to Fairbanks. Fairbanks back to Saylor. Saylor looking to make a play. Saylor with the hook shot for 2. Van Donkersgood brings the ball up over to Wassenaar. Back to Snyder. Snyder goes in under and out to Wassenaar. Out back to Snyder for the long 3. That's going to be way short. And Goodberry tries to get that ball to stay in play, and it's just not going to work out for him. Huskies ball. Ashton Fairbanks to inbound over to Merkley. Merkley brings the ball up over to Timmons. Timmons back to Merkley. Merkley to Saylor. Saylor looking for a layup. That's going to be no good. Chargers bring the ball down, and Wassenaar for 2. Fairbanks brings the ball up. Fairbanks to Timmons. Timmons over to Merkley. Merkley with the pass to Saylor is going to be intercepted there by Van Donkersgood. Brings it up over to Nichols. Rebounded by Timmons. Merkley to Saylor. Saylor back to Merkley. Saves that off the foot. (20-5) here. 38 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Saylor to inbound for the Huskies. Saylor to Merkley. Merkley to Fairbanks. Fairbanks to Schmitz. Schmitz to Merkley. Merkley goes up for 2, and that's going to be no good. Up for Schmitz, and no good. It's going to be foul called on Sioux Falls. Luke Schmitz goes to the line for 2. First shot is up and no good. Second shot is up and good. Nichols brings the ball up. Nichols to Goodberry. Goodberry back to Nichols. Over to Goodberry. Goodberry up for 2, and that's going to be no good. The end of the first quarter. We're going to take a quick break along with them, and we'll be back after these messages. You're watching EPJ Huskies basketball, brought to you by Fuller Digital Solutions.
Insurance. Insurance Agency.
And we are back as Chargers and the Huskies take the court. 20-6 here as we're gearing up for the second quarter. Huskies basketball action. Fairbanks inbounds to Moore. Moore to Fournier. Fournier over to Sailor. Sailor with the attempt. This will be no good. Oh. Moore intercepts the ball. And Fournier the pass. Fournier to Fairbanks. Back to Fournier. Over to Sailor. Sailor to Fairbanks. Grayson Gerard on the court now. Fournier with the ball. Fournier to Gerard. Gerard up to Fairbanks and the layup for 2. Goodberry with the ball over to Van Donkersgood. Van Donkersgood to Goodberry. The attempt for 3, no good. Nichols over to Van Donkersgood. Up to Goodberry. Fairbanks with the steal. The layup for 2 is going to be shy. Goodberry under the basket. Ball's going to go in favor of Chargers. Wassenaar to inbound. Wassenaar to Goodberry. And Gerard with the steal. Timeout called on the court. We'll take one along with him. We'll be right back after these messages.
Forget the ramps and hassles when hauling. They are built to tilt. Tilt bed trailers made at Holstein Fabrication and Holstein Manufacturing.
We're excited to now offer one of the best tilt bed trailers on the market, ranging from 22 to 28 feet in length. And like everything we manufacture, these trailers are built to work, last, and make your life easier. Haul with confidence when you hook up to a tilt bed trailer made at Holstein Fabrication and Holstein Manufacturing. Visit us online today at holsteinmfg.com.
And we are back. Chargers lead 20-8 here in the second quarter. 6 minutes 31 seconds remaining. Ashton Fairbanks with the ball over to Fournier for 2, and that's going to be in and out. Gerard to Moore. Moore with the attempt. It's going to be no good. Van Donkersgood with the pass. And Fournier with the attempted steal. Nichols over to Goodberry. Wassenaar. Wassenaar for 2. Gerard to Moore. Moore to Fairbanks. Fairbanks to Sailor. Sailor up for 2 and an answer. 22-10. As Van Donkersgood brings the ball up the court. Van Donkersgood to Goodberry. Goodberry to Goodberry. Goodberry for 2. Moore with the ball now. Moore to Sailor. Sailor to Gerard. Gerard to Fournier. Fournier with the attempt for 2, and it's blocked by Goodberry. Goodberry to Wassenaar for 2. Reed Sailor to inbound for the Huskies. Fairbanks with the ball now. Fairbanks to Sailor. Sailor to Moore. Timmons and Merkley checking in for Gerard and Sailor. And Luke Schmitz coming on. Carson Timmons to inbound over to Garrett Merkley. Merkley to Fairbanks. Fairbanks with the attempted pass to Fournier. It's intercepted by the Chargers. Van Donker's good. Up. The layup for 2. It's going to go in. Attempted interception by the Chargers. Merkley to inbound for the Huskies. Merkley to Fournier. Fournier back to Merkley. Over to Timmons. Timmons to Fournier. Fournier looking to make a layup. This would be no good. Fournier goes to the line to shoot. 2. First one is up and no good. Second shot is up and no good. Wassenaar with the ball over to Snyder. Snyder to good. Van Donker's good. Over to Goodberry. Goodberry to Wassenaar. Wassenaar to 3 attempt. No good. Rebounded by Fournier. Fournier with the lob to Merkley. Intercepted there by Snyder. Snyder to Goodberry for 3. Merkley brings the ball up the court. Merkley to Timmons. Timmons to Fournier. Fournier to Merkley. Merkley to Schmitz. Schmitz to Timmons. Timmons to Fairbanks. Fairbanks to Timmons, up for 2, and that's going to be blocked by Goodberry. Landon Johnson checking in for Ashton Fairbanks. Merkley to inbound, over to Johnson. Ball's knocked loose by Whitty. Husky ball. Merkley to inbound. Over to Schmitz. Schmitz to Timmons. Timmons attempted to bounce past that to Johnson. Knocked off the foot of a Charger. Ball's going to go into Husky possession. Garrett Merkley to inbound. Merkley to Timmons. Timmons to Johnson. Johnson to Schmitz. Intercepted there by Wassenaar. Merkley inbounds to Fournier. Fournier hands it off back to Merkley. Merkley to Johnson for 2. (31-12) here in the second quarter. 3:19 remaining. Goodberry up for 2. Merkley with the ball. Over to Timmons. Timmons to Schmitz. Schmitz to Fournier. Up for 2, and this could be a little long. Fournier goes to the line for 2. First one is up and good. Reed Saylor checking in for Luke Schmitz. Second one is up and no good. Rebounded there by Wassenaar. Wassenaar drives it up the court. Over to Goodberry. Goodberry for the long 3. That's going to be no good. Fournier with the snatch. And over to Merck. Pass intended for Saylor. Intercepted by the Chargers. Defended there at the net, though, by the Huskies. No shot attempt. No shots made. Goodberry with the ball over to Whitty. Whitty with the long pass into the stands, meant for Snyder. Huskies possession. Saylor inbounds to Merkley. Merkley brings it up the court. Merkley to Johnson. Tempted for two. It's going to be no good. Goodberry over to Goodberry. Huskies ball under the Chargers net. It's going to go to Merkley. Tosses it in to Fournier. Fournier back to Merkley. Brings it up the court. Merkley to Timmons. Timmons to Saylor. Saylor to Merkley for three. And it's good. Chargers to inbound. Snyder brings the ball up the court. Snyder to Goodberry. Goodberry to Whitty. Back to Goodberry under the net. And that's going to be two. Saylor to Merkley. Back to Saylor. Saylor out to Fournier. Fournier recovers the ball. Bounce pass over to Saylor with the hook shot. No good. Johnson attempted with the rebound. Snyder brings the ball up the court. Snyder to Goodberry. Goodberry to Whitty. Whitty attempts the three, and it's going to be good. Merkley with the ball. Merkley to Fournier. Back to Merkley. Back to Fournier. Fournier drives in for two. It's going to roll over the rim. Snyder with the rebound. Brings it up the court. Snyder over to Goodberry for the dunk. Merkley to Timmons. Back to Merkley. Merkley to Johnson for the layup. It's going to be snatched away there. And Goodberry with two. Merkley with the ball. Merkley to Johnson. Johnson with the attempt. This would be no good. Johnson goes to the line. Shooting two. First shot is up and no good. Ashton Fairbanks checking in for Evan Fournier. Second shot is up and good. Snyder with the lob to take us into halftime. We are going to be in Sioux City tomorrow at the Tyson Event Center. Huskies will face off against Mount Union of Iowa. This is a game that will not be streamed by Fuller Digital Solutions, so if you'd like to see the boys and the girls play, then you are going to have to come on down to the Tyson Event Center. Halftime now in the boys matchup. Chargers lead 42-17. And we will hear some words from our sponsors. We want to thank everyone who advertises with us on Fuller Digital Solutions. We could not do this without your support. And we couldn't do this without Fuller Digital Solutions. So we'll take a quick break and thank our sponsors, and we'll be back after this.
All the best sports shows, all the best games on 101.5 FM and 1570 AM for your college sports, University of South Dakota. For NHL coverage, Minnesota Wild. For NBA coverage, Minnesota Timberwolves. For MLB coverage, Chicago Cubs. And the best games in both college and the pros with the ESPN Radio featured games. Never miss out on the action.
And we are back. Huskies and the Chargers face off here in Sioux Falls. Chargers leading 42-17. Gearing up for another second half of basketball action. Nichols over to Goodberry. Goodberry with the ball now. Goodberry with the shot for two. Merkley over to Moore. Moore hooks it over to Fournier, intercepted by Goodberry. Goodberry with the ball over to Wassenaar. Wassenaar to Vandersgood, tosses it over to Snyder for three. Timmons to Merkley. Merkley to Saylor. Saylor looking for a pass over to Moore. Saylor to inbound for the Huskies. Saylor to Merkley. Merkley to Fournier, over to Saylor. Saylor for the long two. It's going to be no good. Rebounded by Snyder. Snyder brings it up the court. Snyder to Nichols. It's going to be Chargers ball under their net. Nichols to inbound for Sioux Falls Christian. Nichols tosses it off over to Snyder. Snyder to Nichols. Nichols to Wassenaar for two, and it's going to be no good. Rebounded there by Saylor. Saylor drives it up the court, tosses it over to Timmons. Timmons to Merkley. Merkley makes the pass to Moore. Moore to Saylor. Saylor drives in under the basket. Attempts for two, rebounded by Snyder. Snyder with the pass to Nichols, blocked by Timmons. Chargers ball under the net. Nichols to inbound for the Chargers. Nichols to Goodberry. Goodberry tosses it out to Vandersgood. Intercepted by Merkley. Merkley to Saylor. Back to Merkley. Merkley tosses the ball over to Moore. Moore to Fournier under the net. Fournier for two. Vandersgood with the ball over to Wassenaar. Wassenaar drives up under the net. It's going to be two and a foul. The two is no good. No good. Chargers ball. Nichols to inbound. Nichols out to Wassenaar, over to Snyder, back to Nichols for the long three. It's bounce in and out, and that's going to go to Fournier. Fournier with the ball under Huskies net, out to Merkley for three. Goodberry with the ball. Goodberry to Snyder for the layup, and it's going to be no good. Foul called on the Huskies. It's going to go Chargers ball. Nichols to inbound for Sioux Falls Christian. Nichols over to Vandersgood. Intercepted by Merkley. Merkley to Timmons. Timmons out to Saylor. Saylor back to Merkley. Merkley to Fournier. Fournier for two, and that's going to be no good. Bounces in with the assist of Goodberry. Vandersgood out to Nichols. Nichols up to Wassenaar. Wassenaar rolls it off the rim there, and Merkley with the rebound drives it up the court. Merkley to Fournier. Slapped out of the hands there by Vandersgood. Huskies ball. Saylor to inbound. Sailor with the long pass over to Merkley and intercepted there by Nichols. Goodberry with the dunk. 24-49 in favor of the Chargers. Fournier with the ball over to Merkley. Merkley to Timmons. Timmons back to Merkley. Merkley to Fournier. Fournier for three. That's going to go long. Wassenaar with the ball. Timmons intercepts. Timmons back over to Moore. Moore goes to the line. Foul called on Goodberry. Moore's first shot is up and rolls in. Ashton Fairbanks checking in for Evan Fournier. Moore's second shot is up and no good. Rebound goes to Wassenaar. Wassenaar drives it up the court, blocked by Merkley with the spill there. Three for Snyder. Fairbanks for two. Fairbanks goes to the line. Grayson Gerard checking in for Reed Saylor. First shot is up and good. Only shot. So he's only go for one. Goodberry with the ball over to Vandersgood. Vandersgood to Snyder. Snyder with the fake. Up and no good. And assisted there by Goodberry. Fairbanks with the ball. Fairbanks to Moore. Moore to Gerard. Gerard back to Moore. And ball's knocked loose. Goodberry with the ball over to Snyder. Snyder tripped up there by Moore. Snyder at the line. First shot is up and good. Luke Schmitz checking in for Carson Timmons. Snyder's second foul shot is up and no good. And that's going to be rebounded by Caden Moore. Moore drives it up the court. Takes it up. Oh, and rolls off the rim there. Wassenaar at the hoop for two. 57-28, 50 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Fairbanks to Schmitz. Schmitz under the net, looking for a way out. Schmitz to Moore. Moore to Fairbanks. Fairbanks to Schmitz. Schmitz goes up for two, and it's good. Wassenaar to Nichols. Nichols to Snyder. Snyder with the ball. Over to Nichols. Merkley with the ball now. Merkley to Moore. Moore to Schmitz. Schmitz for three, and it's going to be short. Over to Gerard for two. Vandersgood over to Nichols for three. It's going to be no good. Rebounded there by Fairbanks. Fairbanks to Gerard. Gerard with the ball, out to Merkley for three. That's going to be off the rim, no good. That'll do it for the third quarter. We're back after a few messages. I want to give a quick shout out. It is Garrett Merkley's birthday tomorrow. He even came in, he made cookie cake for the class today and came in on I don't know if it was his day off or what it was, but he brought the kids cookie cake, and they were just super excited. So happy birthday to Garrett Merkley tomorrow. And they will be in Sioux City at the Tyson Event Center taking on Mount Union of Iowa. We'll be back after these messages.
Quality care close to home. That's Horizon Healthcare in Elk Point. For immunizations and well-child visits to family health, we're right here for all ages with convenient hours and timely appointments. Local care for you and your family makes life easier with less travel, greater personal attention, and overall wellness for life. That's Horizon Healthcare's Elk Point Community Health Center.
And we are back. Chargers lead 57-32. Gerard with the ball. Gerard to Saylor. Saylor under the net, looking for a way out. Over to Gerard. Gerard with the hook pass to Schmitz. Recovered by Fairbanks. Back to Saylor. Saylor for 3. Goodberry, no, Wassenaar to Whitty. We got new players on the court. Landon Johnson over to Gerard. Gerard to Fairbanks. It's going to be white ball. Wassenaar to inbound for the Chargers. Wassenaar to Whitty. Whitty back to Wassenaar. Prinz with the ball. Whitty now under the net. Looking for a shot. And rebounded there by Fairbanks. Fairbanks to Gerard. Gerard to Fairbanks. Fairbanks looking for a shot. It's going to be denied there by Cooper Goodberry. Goodberry to Wassenaar. Wassenaar scrambles with the ball. Saylor and Gerard and Goodberry get tripped up there together. No, Wassenaar. There's 2 Goodberries and 2 Wassenaars on this team. And do you think I can get them figured out? Nope. Prinz with the ball now. Prinz over to Wassenaar. Wassenaar to Whitty. Intercepted there by Fairbanks and intercepted again by Wassenaar, and Wassenaar goes up for 2. Fairbanks for 2 in answer. Fairbanks to the line to shoot 1. Shot is up and no good. Rebounded by Whitty. Whitty to Goodberry. Goodberry back to Whitty. Tangled up there with Fournier and Saylor. It's going to be black ball on the end. Saylor to inbound for the Huskies. Saylor to Gerard. Gerard to Fairbanks. Fairbanks to Fournier. Fournier to Fairbanks for 3. That's going to be long. Snatched up there by Prinz. Prinz to Wassenaar. Wassenaar for the layup. No good. Rebounded by Fairbanks. Fairbanks, the attempted pass to Johnson, intercepted by Whitty. Whitty drives it down the court. Tosses it over to Wassenaar for 2. Fournier with the attempted save to get back, keep the ball in play. Almost went in the net there. That would have been so sweet. Gerard, Saylor, and Fairbanks checking out. Timmons, Merkley, and Moore checking in. Whitty with the ball now. Whitty over to Gertis with the attempted three. Back to Gertis for attempted three. It's going to be in and out. Fournier with the rebound. Fournier to Johnson. It's going to be intercepted there and tripped up by Wassenaar. It'll be Huskies ball. Timmons to inbound for EPJ. Timmons to Fournier. Ball knocked loose by Whitty. Recovered by Moore. Moore to Fournier. Fournier to Johnson with the reverse layup, and that's going to be two for the Huskies. 63-39 here in the fourth quarter. 3 minutes, 15 seconds remaining. Merkley with the ball. Merkley to Moore. Moore drives in. Passes it out to Timmons. Timmons to Fournier. Fournier to Merkley. Merkley for two. Rebounds his own shot, and that's going to be out of bounds off the Huskies. Wassenaar brings the ball up the court. Wassenaar over to Goodberry. Goodberry to Gertis. Wassenaar with the ball. Over to Goodberry. Goodberry to Gertis for three. Merkley to Timmons for the long two. It's going to be no good. And, ooh, Johnson trying to smack that out of the hands of a Charger. Some new Huskies checking in. We've got Jace Shatswell, Nick Schmitz, Anthony Tatro, Hudson Kemp, and Wyatt Harity. Whitty with the ball now. Whitty to Wassenaar. Wassenaar attempted to pass it to Gertis, intercepted by the Huskies. Harity brings the ball up the court. Harity over to Tatro, intercepted by Goodberry. Goodberry with the layup, and that's going to go in for two. Currently have a running clock now as there's a 30-point difference. Goodberry, first one is up and good. Shatswell over to Kemp. Kemp with the ball. Kemp to Harity. Harity to Kemp. Kemp to Tatro. Tatro over to Shatswell, intercepted there by Whitty and Gertis. Wassenaar with the attempted for two, no good, rebounded by Shatswell. Shatswell to Harity. Harity brings the ball up the court. Harity trying to foul on Gertis. Harity to inbound for the Huskies. Harity to Kemp. Kemp to Tatro. Tatro with the ball. Over to Harity. Harity shoots up to Kemp. Kemp with the attempt for two, and no good, and rebounded there by Canyon Prince. And that'll do it here in Sioux Falls for the Huskies and the Chargers. Chargers top Huskies 71-39. We will be back again with some EPJ athletics on December 19th at home. Huskies take on Viborg Hurley Cougars, I believe. That will be a doubleheader as well. That'll also be the start of Christmas break for EPJ. Again, boys and girls play tomorrow at Tyson Event Center in Sioux City. And then we will be back again with basketball action on December 19th at home, and then again on Tuesday, January 2nd in Canastota. I believe that is a boys-only basketball game. Will be in Canastota that evening. So thanks again for tuning in, and we appreciate your support. On behalf of Fuller Digital Solutions, thank you so much for tuning in this evening. We will see you on the 19th.